And for good luck or sentiment, I have also made an attempt today to adorn myself in the colors of the Nigerian Army. So perhaps next time I'll patronize the other branches of the armed forces. So let us go on this journey together. And as Nigerians always say, God will help us and see us through. Some of my most fond memories from a very young age in my family setting involved the military. My maternal grandfather, he was a heavy disciplinarian, and he ran a very tight ship in his household. It was no wonder that I would end up having two uncles go on to join the armed forces. The older joined the Air Force, Squadron Leader Adebayo Shaw of Regular Course 22, who rose quickly to become the ADC to the then military governor of Lagos, Air Commodore Bolahon Mudashiru. Unfortunately, he passed away in 1993. The younger joined the army, Colonel Kolawole Shaw. It's part of course SSC 25. He was proudly decorated by the late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua here in Kaduna back in July 2008 for his exploits at the Army Post-Service Housing Development. We were so proud watching him to be pinned by the President. Both men inspired us to be neat, to be punctual, to be disciplined, to be honest, and to be alive to our responsibilities, whatever the definition. They also inspired us to be bold in the face of adversity. At that point in my young life, I thought they were the coolest members of my extended family. The impression they had on me was so indelible that I started to dream and come up with a great hybrid. And my plan was very simple: to take all that I admired and valued from these men and merge it to my royal heritage and pedigree. And I guaranteed myself that I would become the finest of the finest. Growing up in Warri GRA in the 90s, the famous naval base, NNS Umalokun, as it was then known, was a stone's throw away from our residence. I was fascinated with that place and all its military grandeur and the discipline that it exuded. Above all, the immaculate white uniforms. Those guys were so fresh. And as we say in Warri, nothing stained their white at all. Then came the time to sell my great hybrid plan to my father, His Majesty Ogiame Atuwatse II, CON. Like the British royal family, which had centuries-old practice of placing sons of the royal family in military regiments and training and upbringing, also to instill discipline and order in their lives, and to better prepare them for tasks and responsibilities that lie ahead. I had my list. The then Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip, the then Prince of Wales, Prince Charles, now His Majesty King Charles III, and his two sons, Princes William and Harry. I had listed all of them as towering examples of what goes right when royalty and military are in sync. I had even done some research on some northern Nigerian royal houses who had encouraged their sons to join the Nigerian army, with those sons also going on to become emirs themselves. Everything was making sense. If the northerner can join the army, then we, Shekiri princes down south, we can join the navy. After all, we are a riverine people. The water is our natural habitat. The appellation, the Olu of Warri, is Ogiame. which is King of Water. So that is why the Navy was the perfect destination for my plan. In fact, I had imagined it that the Navy would be so thrilled and honored to partner with this blue-blooded lineage. This is what you call perfect alignment. God was in this plan. Nothing could go wrong. I am still yet to recover from the way my father turned me down. The theme for that brief session was based on one chapter in the Bible. I still have it here. Let me read it to your hearing. The book of Proverbs, chapter 19, verse 21, specifically from the NIV translation. My father said to me, "You can make many plans, but it is the Lord's will that will prevail." As you can imagine, this has gone on to become one of my most memorable verses of the Bible. But despite that unfortunate personal setback, what I have not changed my mind about is the effect of discipline, hard work, order, justice, and other core values that are treasured by the military. Their positive impact in the life of any individual and the ripple effect that carries on into their families, their societies, and eventually the nation. In many societies, monarchy evolved naturally as a system of governance. In these leaders are not just figureheads. They are the custodians of values, the keepers of heritage, and the arbiters of moral order. They serve as societal thermostats, quickly setting the moral and cultural temperature. A key factor in the resilience when you stand on air, they are more likely to over the last 25 years, Nigeria has faced widespread fears of terrorism and banditry. In nearly every case, perpetrators are community members acting against unrecognized laws or regulations. Correctional laws are often tasked with identifying and sanctioning offenders. Sometimes successful, but often these criminals operate to gain deeply entrenched capital that is fair only in the Historically, punishment for such crimes was swift and symbolic, ranging from public flogging and hard labor to ostracism, or in grave cases,
capital punishment. These actions were not taken lightly. They were guided by traditional justice systems and overseen by the head of the institution. But before punishment came prevention. In the past, families gathered to share stories, oral tradition filled with moral lessons that shaped children's character. Today, these communal moments have faded. The rise of individualism and the pressure of capitalism have left many children unsupervised, vulnerable to outside influences, and disconnected from their roots. This is where we must highlight the power of the narrative, the power of telling stories. This is why media is so influential. And the late Steve Jobs said, the most powerful person in the world is a storyteller. Our traditional institutions in this part of the world, we were the original storytellers, shaping narrative of what was good and effective in the society that is intended.
Even with all the digital distractions in the world today, with proper consultation, with funding and organization, traditional institutions are still very relevant and influential in shaping narrative and norms in our society today. If social media influencers can rise out of thin air, how much so an institution that has been tested by time? All we have to do is be ready to engage and be fluid, like water. And I assure you, Ogiame knows a thing or two about water. But we'll discuss our consultancy and royalties with the commandant at another time. Nigeria remains a largely collectivist society. Community reputation still holds weight. The family is the smallest unit of that community and the engine room where character is formed. When crimes occur, investigation often traces back to the family. If there is a history of such behavior, the community is not surprised. If not, the individual is seen as a pariah who has brought shame upon their people. In either case, the family remains the first and most powerful institution of moral formation. Traditional rulers, often through their chiefs, assign punishments to serve not just justice, but as a public deterrent. Shame and honor operate powerfully in collectivist cultures, and the public nature of discipline reinforces societal boundaries. Despite their influence, traditional institutions remain sidelined in the Nigerian constitution. Monarchs are still held accountable for local security, but without any constitutional backing or resources to effectively enforce it. As militancy and terrorism rise, these rulers are expected to gather intelligence, mediate conflict, and help maintain peace. Yet, when crime strikes, security agencies often turn to them for answers. This places monarchs in a difficult position. While their grassroots connections can be valuable, over-reliance can lead to mistrust. And when a traditional ruler or institution is perceived as a state informant, community trust erodes, compromising the very flow of information that is critical to security. Trust then must be central to the mission of traditional rulers. Traditional rulers must remain unbiased arbiters of justice, not tools of the state, but trusted guides who hold the moral fabric of their communities together. The motto of the Nigerian Army and please correct me if I'm wrong, victory comes from God? Did I get that right? Am I paraphrasing? All right. The motto of the Nigerian Army is victory comes from God. And it speaks directly to the work before us, because this is not just politics or policy. This is war. But it's not war with bullets. It is war with culture. Not on battlefields, but in homes, in schools, and in hearts. Legacy must be fought for. And as I'm standing among gallant officers, even now during peacetime, we understand what it means to fight for what matters. What we seek, strong family values and moral clarity, it will not come without resistance. The war must be waged daily in our minds, in the way we parent, in our leadership style, in the way we live our lives. And let us not forget, the strength to fight comes from God, but the victory also comes from God. But still, in this fight, we must also wield wisdom. The old saying goes, discretion is the better part of valor. So we must apply both discipline and compassion. Not just the rod, but also the rice. Be it plain white, jollof, fried, or Chinese, we should apply it. The balance of correction and care is what makes change sustainable. Traditional institutions will endure, not by clinging to old ways, but by preparing way for the future. The values we uphold, the righteousness we enthrone, the justice we deliver, and the trust that we build today, these are the seeds of a legacy that will stand tall tomorrow. Let us fight for it. Let us build it. Let us win, not just for ourselves, but for the generations that are yet to come. Victory comes from God, but the courage to fight for legacy, that must come from us. I thank you all for listening. I don't think I lost too many of you, so I think we were very successful in our speech today. God bless you all.
You may please be seated. Shall we please give His Majesty another round of applause? His Majesty Ogiame Atuwatse III, Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic, the Olu of Warri, the Commandant, Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Air Vice Marshal H.I. Alhaji, Deputy Commandant, Director of Studies, members of faculty, team leaders of participating ministries, departments, and agencies, fellow participants of exercise Haskebu 2025, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, we are now in the second segment of the lecture, which is the interactive session. I am Squadron Leader E.E. Enite, the moderator. This session shall be conducted in the following manner. His Majesty shall entertain a total of 4 questions, 2 from each side of the hall. Thereafter, I shall call upon a fellow student to give the vote of thanks on behalf of the college. And finally, I shall most respectfully invite the Commandant, Armed Forces Command and Staff College to make a token presentation to His Majesty Ogiame Atuwatse III, the Olu of Warri. I shall begin with questions from fellow participants seated to my right. Superintendent Gloria Sueze from the Nigerian Correctional Service.
My name is Sueze Gloria Ikenechukwu, Superintendent of Nigeria Corrections. My question, what role can the traditional leaders play to prevent the youth from radicalization through family? Thank you.
Squadron Leader Echo.
Leader E.O. Echo. His Majesty, sir, how can traditional institutions intervene in family hostilities?
Respond to the first two, then you take the second. Okay. His Majesty will answer the first two.
Okay, sir.
All right. Sorry, could you read the first question? I'll take the first two. So could you read out again the first question?
The first question is, what role can traditional leaders play in preventing youth radicalization through family guidance?
There is, the way I understand that question, there is a common thread in the human psyche, and it is what we celebrate. It is what we tolerate. That's effectively, those are the things that people will justify that they can get away with these behaviors because they are not addressed at the early stage. When we see what's happening, at least from my perspective, with the youth situation in Nigeria today, we will be able to sit down here and analyze the various challenges and temptations that our young people face, from primarily from being idle, whether or not they went to school. The ones that go to school come out, they are not able to apply themselves. And those who didn't even bother to go to school are already applying themselves in various creative ways, whether or not they are legal or even moral. And we don't want to get into that trap of saying, because life is hard, let us allow these young people come up with whatever ways justifiable to them, that it brings money or it gives them a means of living, so therefore let us allow them be. But the truth is, however hard things are, we at the grassroots level, if we hold on tight to a sense of what is right and good and true, and say no matter what the situation is, we will still celebrate these morals, that these are right and good and true. And we need to be ready to stand by our convictions, because a lot of people may say yes with their mouths as a society, collectively, yes, these morals are right and true, but deep down in their hearts, it is a completely different situation. So, once traditional institutions come together and say these are the morals in society that we want to celebrate, we want to honor, we cannot be giving it eye service and lip service. Everybody will agree because the authority has said, okay, this is what we are going to do. But as our people will say, Baba, how does this put food on the table? They may agree with you and go behind, go offline to try to be creative. And my response, as I said earlier, is still the same of, we must hold fast that what is right, and it is worth celebrating. That human psyche, when you reward good behavior, it is a fundamental human trait. When you reward good behavior and you punish or discourage bad behavior, human beings conform. So the traditional institution and every other authority in this country has to be united in celebrating and rewarding good behavior. We can do it in our own traditional cultural way at the grassroots level, but that has to transfer beyond that, because we do not live in isolation. So that's my attempt to answer question number 1. Could you please read back question number 2?
The second question is, how can traditional institutions help reduce the vulnerability of families to crime and insurgent recruitment?
I think, once again, that thread still runs the same. It's the same. No matter the temptation out there, if it's the pressure of trying to make a living, because them going into insurgency and all that is because that is what they feel their able body can do. If it were a different part of the country, perhaps it would not be insurgency. It could be internet fraud or some other vice. So it is still doubling down as a family unit, and the local traditional institution supporting it at a family unit and at a community level, that these are the morals that we support. These are the behaviors that we endorse. It is still down to rewarding good behavior and discouraging bad. behavior as at a fundamental level? I think the answer is still applicable to both questions.
Now to questions from fellow participants seated to my left. Mr. Prince Will from the EFCC.
Ogiame, so my name is Egbe Prince Will Omagbishe, a staff of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. My question is, what reforms are necessary to better integrate traditional institutions into national security framework? That's my question, sir. I should repeat? Okay.
Thank you. The second person, Major Uweja.
Major Uweja. Sir, what roles do cultural norms play in promoting family cohesion for enhanced national security?
Sir, the third question is, what reforms are necessary to better integrate traditional institutions in national security framework?
I think for quite a long time we've heard many debates and points, opinions as to the constitutional role of traditional rulers and all of that. So slightly dancing away from that, I think, and I want to take this away from the traditional institution. I like to speak to our basic DNA as human beings, our psyche. When something is able to demonstrate value, when something is able to demonstrate effectiveness, everybody will come to want to key into such a thing. And so I think while the debates and the amendments are going on for the government or the constitution formally recognizing the role and all that comes with that, perhaps with funding and empowerment and all of that, while that is on, at the traditional level, we should be able to demonstrate that the manner in which we go about our business is one that is in the best interest of the collective society. When we're able to demonstrate that the traditional institution adds value to our existence, to our identity, to the things that we want to celebrate, achieve, I don't think you're going to have to be coming up with solutions and ideas as to how. Once a thing is able to self-demonstrate that it is a thing for good, you'll be the one filtering out who you want to partner with and who you want to be involved with, because the whole world will come, and they will come. Our people say, who no like better thing? So truly, when you're able to demonstrate that what you have is good, they will all come calling, all of them. So that's my general response to question number 3. Could we get question number 4 again?
Question number 4 is, what roles do cultural norms play in promoting family cohesion for enhanced national security?
As I alluded to in my presentation, everything that we see happening at the national level, everything we see is happening at the family level, but on a smaller scale. So when it comes to the national level, it has been magnified. How we live as a family. First of all, as individuals. Once we first of all know and we are not confused as to our identity as men, as women, and this cannot happen in isolation. It can't. As fathers, as husbands, we are more than just being an ATM for wife and children. Because if that is the primary way we see ourselves, life is so hard, we need to just go out there and hustle and bring in the money. And maybe once in a while, when you see that the children are misbehaving, then you shout or you come down hard on them. The truth of the matter is, even if you think you are doing that on a surface level and you are not actively vested in the way your household is run, in the way your children are misbehaving behind your back, you're going to deceive yourself that you are a good father and you are an authority figure in your home. But when you care for the details of what is going on under your roof, and your wife and children and those who are under your authority, staff, know that this is a no-nonsense family unit. No matter how hard life is, when your children leave that home and go on to university and go on to experiencing the reality of life, they will always think about what has been ingrained in their minds and their consciousness as they look to make their way through the world. And this also goes back to what I had said earlier. People get overwhelmed by the pressures of life. There is no money, there is no light, everybody is tired. By the time you get home, you don't want problem, you just want to sleep. You just want to rest, you just want to eat. And if we keep caving into these, and they are facts of and reality of the life we have in Nigeria, it is a fact. I'm not saying any of this is easy. But if we are able to resist those everyday pressures and know that raising or ensuring order and discipline in your home is just as important as the pressure of providing, I think we're going to do well in producing better citizens, because the leaders we have in this country and the characters that we see all across Nigeria, people did not just fall from heaven, or people did not just fall from hell and decide to be good or bad people. There is a formative stage, and this has to be emphasized at the family level, at the traditional level, to say this is our identity, this is how we behave as a people. And as the first level of authority outside the father in the house, the king in the community says these are the behaviors that we will celebrate and encourage. That now goes on, and it trickles, well, I won't say it trickles down, it flows upwards. And if we have this happening in all, is it 776 local governments in Nigeria, you will have people who are better balanced when they come into influential decision-making places, be it in the army, in the civil service, in political office, because where they have been formed has filled them with good things. When they get there, instead of just managing, instead of just, we go do them anyhow, we go run them anyhow, the mindset and the approach will be different. That is what I believe firmly.
I shall now call on Lieutenant Commander K.E. Wanabai to give the vote of thanks on behalf of the college.
Your Majesty, the Olu of Warri, the Commandant, Armed Forces Command and Staff College, the Deputy Commandant, Director of Studies, members of faculty, team leaders of participating ministries, departments, and agencies, fellow participants of exercise HASKEBU 2025, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, I am Lieutenant Commander K.E. Wanabai. The most important gift is time, because once given, it can never be regained. On this note, I would like to extend our deepest gratitude to His Majesty Ogiame Atuwatse III, Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic, the Olu of Warri, for taking time out of your very busy schedule to share your profound insight on the topic, strengthening family values for national security, the roles of traditional institutions. You emphasized with clarity and wisdom that national security begins at home, in the values we teach our children, in the discipline we uphold in the family, and in the respect we maintain for our cultural heritage. You have shown us that the traditional institution is not a relic of the past, but rather they are living pillars of stability, identity, and moral guidance that must be strengthened to build a peaceful, united, secured, and prosperous Nigeria. As participants of exercise HASKEBU 2025, who will go on to assume roles in key leadership and security positions across the country, today you have reawakened in us that strategy and security planning is not rooted in kinetic operations and logistics alone, but also in values, culture, and community. Your Majesty, we are honored to have you in our presence today, and we are highly impacted by your lecture. I assure you that the knowledge we have gained here today will be applied in our planning, both in joint and combined exercises here in the college, as well as in our future endeavors in the respective services of our dear country. On this note, on behalf of the Commandant, staff, and students of the Armed Forces Command and Staff College, as well as the entire participants of exercise HASKEBU 2025, I hereby extend our sincere gratitude for sharing your wealth of knowledge with us. With utmost reverence, Your Majesty, it is hoped that when next the college comes calling, please, we'll have the pleasure of welcoming your presence to this citadel of learning. We wish you a safe trip back to your kingdom, and please extend our regards to your subject, of which I'm most respectfully one of them. May your reign continue to bring peace, unity, and development to our dear Warri Kingdom. Once again, thank you, and long live the Warri Kingdom.
May I now most respectfully invite the Commandant, Armed Forces Command and Staff College, to make a token presentation to His Majesty Ogiame Atuwatse III, the Olu of Warri Kingdom, the Commandant.
Thank you, sir. Permission, sir.
International students.
Participants, please keep quiet. Chief instructors, members of directing staff, and team leaders. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Sir? That's what is written, sir. That's what is written, sir. Please, may we rise as His Majesty departs the hall. For picture, group photograph. Next on the program is group photograph with everyone. So we are all expected to file out quietly to the photo stand. And when we are ready, His Majesty and the college committee will come to join us. So students, please file. Yes, okay. Hold on, participants. Okay, participants, file out using this door to my left.
Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2. Loud and clear. Sound check. Sound check. Sound check.